Good afternoon, honorable members. Sorry? I'm advised that we don't have quorum. We could perhaps ring the bell for 10 minutes so that such other terms proceed.
Order number 1, administration of oath.
Next order.
Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Next order.
Order number 3, messages.
Next order.
Order number 4, petitions.
Next order.
Order number 5, papers.
Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Next order.
Order number 7, statements.
Next order.
Order number 8, approval of motion on disbursement of bursaries.
Honorable members, before we took a break in the morning session, we were debating on that motion on bursaries. I would now request Honorable Ndwiki to proceed from where he left and make his remarks Proceed, Honorable Ndwiki.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Before we left, I was contributing on this motion, and I was just trying to explain this House, Madam Speaker, this Honorable House, how the distribution of bursaries has affected several wards, including the area which I represent. And at that point, I was just enlightening how we distribute bursaries and only a few members benefit compared to the members who doesn't benefit. But now, coming now back to the motion, first I want to support the motion and say that it is also very much important to see that if the bursaries will be given 3 times per year, there should be some guidelines, because they may be in danger of giving one person for 3 times. For example, if we give it the first time, you give the same person. Second time, you give the same person, and the third time, you give the same person. So there should be guidelines on a way that such that when you get the bursary in the first term, maybe another student benefit. So I don't know whether the mover will maybe make such an amendment to
you want distribution of the bursaries to be done in terms of terms.
Yes.
If you get first term, you don't get second term, somebody else gets.
Yes.
Third term, somebody else gets.
Yes.
And that is not the motion. That is not the prayer of the motion, isn't it? The prayer of the motion is that the mover wanted the motion, the bursary to be given at the beginning of the terms. That was the prayer of the mover of the motion.
Thank you, Madam
Is
Speaker.
the mover here? Is that the position?
Madam Speaker.
So, Honorable Ndwiki, you are seeking to amend his motion.
Point of information, Madam Speaker.
Point of clarification.
Information.
Okay. Honorable Majority.
Yes, thank you, Madam Speaker. I just want to inform the Honorable Member, Honorable Ndwiki, that one of the basis or the criteria that we use, or that is used to identify the beneficiaries, one is what we call total offer.
Total offer.
That is number 1.
Okay.
So if we give a child bursary term 1, because he or she is a total orphan, come term 2 or term 3, the same state remains. The parent do not need come back. So
To life.
So, yes. So the child remains total orphan.
So therefore, Honorable Ndwiki, there are criteria under which these bursaries are distributed.
Yeah,
And
thank
I
you,
think
Madam.
that is even in the guidelines, in the regulations. Read the regulations, Honorable.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Speaker. I stand guided. Although my point was very clear that we know how government resources are distributed. You may find someone get this term, get another term, so it's good to consider. And the move of the motion asked the government to be giving every term, so not at the beginning of the year. At the beginning of every term, that is 3 times per year, as I understood the motion. So I support, Madam Speaker.
Thank you.
And I beg to support. Thank you.
Point of clarification, Madam Speaker.
Point of clarification from...
Yeah, thank you, Madam Speaker. What Mheshimiwa Ndwiki is saying, of course there are guidelines, as the minority leader says, but we cannot, not everyone in our population can get a bursary. And therefore, what Mheshimiwa Ndwiki is saying is that apart from those special groups like the total orphans, if we are not very keen, some people will get more times than other people. I hope I'm right, Mheshimiwa Ndwiki. And therefore, Madam Speaker, in my not supporting this motion and standing on what Mheshimiwa Ndwiki is saying, it means that if we give you a bursary first term, if you are not among the orphans or other vulnerable groups, then we'll not give you again, which is the same as giving a bursary once a year. Madam Speaker, thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Honorable Maike, then Honorable Mwanga. After that, Honorable Anastasia.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving this chance. As alluded before by other members concerning the motion that is before us on the issue of issuance of bursaries, we should understand that there is cost that comes with issuance of bursaries. There are a lot of inconveniences that, as honorable members, sometimes we incur when going to identify the beneficiaries. For example, in identifying the beneficiaries, you'll find you'll have to do a lot of meetings, which sometimes are very costly. And Madam Speaker, if you do this 3 times in a year, it means that even the honorable members will have a lot of work to do. The essence of bursaries is to help the needy students. The purpose of the bursary fund and the regulations and everything that is there, I've read the regulations being a member of the delegated committee, and we've gone through the regulations that are there, and there are guidelines. If these guidelines are well followed, even if money is given per year and they are well followed. So I'm standing to say the motion is good, but I stand to oppose the giving of bursaries 3 times in a year on interest of the costs. Because, Madam Speaker, if we look at what has happened before, we've had these meetings, and up to today, Madam Speaker, there are people who have never been paid their dues. The sitting allowances, they have never received the sitting allowances. And I can imagine making them, and they sit like 4, 5 times in order for them to come. And Madam Speaker, you'll find the same administration fee it's pegged on the number of sitting. So unless we had a lot of money, we'll be losing also a lot of the money towards the administration of the bursaries 3 times in a year. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Honorable Mwanga, please.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I'm supporting this motion, but with some amendment, if the mover is going to agree with my proposal. Madam Speaker, instead of issuing bursaries 3 times, so in each and every term, I think it will be prudent and cost effective if we say we issue bursaries twice in every financial year. And Madam Speaker, there is an issue I want to raise here. When the Leader Minority was contributing the morning session, he talked of how we went out and identified about 9,900 plus beneficiaries, assuming that we will each beneficiary will be getting 2,000. But after identifying this number of 900 something, the governor, in her own evolution, and with the interest of our students, said that the bursary should be increased to 3,000. However, Madam Speaker, it was increased at the detriment of some beneficiaries, because increasing bursaries from 2,000 to 3,000, and we are not increasing the allocation, which was pegged at 2 million per ward. That did not hang well, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, it is true all the 80 million monies from bursaries were released by the control of budgets. But as we speak now, unless I'm told otherwise, my ward received 1.7 something million. And I think this happened to all the other wards. Madam Speaker, what my ward, Masinga Central Ward, was supposed to receive as bursaries out of the 2 million allocated, because we allocate bursaries per wards. we don't allocate bursaries as per sub-counties. But the 8 million, those who had budgeted, that is the previous assembly, knew that they had 40 wards. That is why they allocated 2 million per each ward, giving a total of 8 million. Madam Speaker, 3% of that money was to go to administration. It was administrative cost. So it means, out of the 2 million, Masinga Central Ward is still waiting to receive over 200 something, so that the total can be 1.936 of the allocation which was there. So, Madam Speaker, as we support this motion, as a house, we should walk our talk, and we should agree. If we allocate funds for bursaries, those funds should go straight to benefit our students, and especially those ones who are identified during the exercise of identifying the beneficiaries. Madam Speaker, I started my contribution by suggesting that the mover of the motion allows that we amend and say the motion to seek awarding of bursaries twice in a year. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member.
Point of information, Honorable Speaker.
Point of information taken, Honorable.
Yes.
Majority.
Honorable Speaker, our standing orders are very clear. It has given guidelines on how a motion can be amended. And it says, standing order number 52. Is it 52? If one wants to amend a motion, he or she is supposed to write or to notify the Speaker 2 hours before the motion lands before the House. Okay. So I just want to advise that the issue of amending cannot now take place.
Point of correction, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker, allow me to respond on the issue which has been raised by the leader minority. Madam Speaker, 2 hours before the motion was tabled in this House, nobody knew what is being brought in the House. Madam Speaker, I think sometimes, with the leave of the Speaker, Madam Speaker, and if the move of the motion can agree, I think there will be no problem.
Okay, point of information, Honorable DS.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I think this being House of Procedure, this motion, we had this motion in the morning session. So going by that time, the member had 2 hours that he could have used to amend the motion. So I don't think that is applicable, Madam Speaker.
Point of information taken.
I think, Madam Speaker, I wouldn't wish to differ with my senior, the Honorable Deputy Speaker, but 2 hours to an amendment of a motion is before the motion is laid before the House and becomes a document of the House. But if you cascade down to the standing orders, Madam Speaker, with the leave of the Speaker and with the agreement of the House can resolve to do an amendment. So, because the motion is already tabled and already under discussion, it's now a document of the House. So, now with the leave of the Speaker, because the standing orders are very clear, now the House can resolve. The House can resolve to do an amendment. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Additional information, Madam Speaker. To the House. Additional information.
Okay, this is what the law says.
Yes.
Amendment of a motion. That is Order 52. The proposer of an amendment of a motion shall, before moving it, hand the proposed amendment in writing. Let's start from there. signed by the proposer to the clerk at least 2 hours before the order is read. So that is what the law says. And I think it is clear, black and white. We have
The standing order of this assembly say,
It is
we
wrong.
anything with the leave of the speaker and the leave of the house. Because according to that standing order, there was no way I could move an amendment because I was not privy to what is coming in the assembly. Remember, the notice of this motion was given earlier before the statement was read by the leader majority.
Honorable Speaker,
Okay,
the
you
link,
still have an opportunity of bringing another motion on your own.
Honorable Speaker,
Because this one, particular one, is the law is really guiding. My hands are tied.
the link was shared by the office of the clerk by 8. Everybody ended that link. It was there. That is when I got mine.
But
Yes.
have I not just read the law?
Yes.
The law is...
Madam Speaker,
Madam
it is
Speaker,
unfortunate that we have a leader of minority who will stand and oppose everything. Madam Speaker, the league was shared. The league was shared at 10.
Madam
That is
Speaker,
after the House Business Committee.
The House Business Committee sat at 9.
is unfortunate.
There is no way we would get the order
It's
paper before
unfortunate.
9.
We are done with this particular debate. This matter has been resolved by the law. Let's proceed. Honorable Brian Kisila.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. First of all, I think members need to respect the Speaker. We need to start respecting the Speaker. A member just shooting from their seat without being given permission to speak, it is unprocedural. And I'm seeing a very serious habits flowing in this assembly, Madam Speaker. And you need to start stamping your authority on members. This is not a market whereby you just shoot from your seat and start talking. So that needs to be followed. Madam Speaker, I think it's a very good motion. Unfortunately, if we go 3 times to an inch, you know what goes on. Tutapata, we'll get into problems. But my suggestion is, I kind of feel that we need to, the mover, if I accept, although we are behind time, if we can do it twice a year, as we have been doing it, it's okay. Madam Speaker, in fact, my point is not even that. Bursaries need to have equity across all the wards. It is unfortunate that bursaries are given equal to all the wards, when some wards, in fact, have more members, more population than the others. Some wards have more villages than others. Some wards have more sub-locations than others. We need to come up with a formula. There is no way you give my brother Vicky 2 million, and then you give someone else with a smaller population 2 million. Like Maege.
Oh, that-
So,
Point of
my
information.
point is, sorry, I don't want to be involved. I'm finishing. So,
Information.
Madam Speaker.
Point of
I want to
information,
finish.
Madam Speaker.
My point is,
Point of information.
but I don't want to be informed.
Yes, I want to inform you.
No, I
Point
don't
of
want to be informed.
information.
Okay, point of information taken. Honorable Brian, have a seat.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I want to inform my friend, Honorable Kisila, that Kalama is among the most densely populated wards we have around. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I am informed. And if it is more, if it has more population, then there needs to be a scientific way. We need to establish a scientific way of giving bursaries. And the only scientific way is population. Let us come with that kind of, if you go that direction. But when you do, you give one size fits all to all the wards. Some wards are suffering when others are benefiting more. So this is a very good motion.
Honorable
I
Kisila,
like
thought-
the motion, but
Honorable Kisila,
yes.
I thought the bursary issuance is based on a need basis. The needy, we have the needy families. You know, a population can be big, but not needy. Like, I don't know. I don't want to say that. I'm just saying we are addressing the issue of the needy
Madam
through
Speaker,
bursaries, isn't it?
sir, if you, Madam Speaker,
Yes.
from a research point of view, if you take a sample size of orphans in Mheshimiwa Ndwigi's ward, and you take the number of orphans in some of, I don't want to mention any member here, you will find that the orphans in his area are higher. It is representative. So I think we need now to look at this bursary as an area which we need to start having a scientific way. If you come to Machakos town, there's a higher population. But you want to give Machakos town 2 million when a smaller population is getting the same amount. It's unfair. And it's the same thing to even seeds. We need to start having a scientific way of giving these things. But I think I'm deviating from the motion, which is giving 3 times. But I think 3 times is on the higher side. So I kind of oppose the 3 times. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Maida, did I see you talk? Or it was a point of information?
It was a point of
All right.
information. Thank you,
Then,
Madam Speaker. I think
Honorable Katiti,
we
Honorable
just need
the
to.
Chair of Education. Thank you.
I think I.
No, we are in the afternoon now.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I think we need to
Proceed.
get serious on this matter
Yeah.
and avoid these theatrics of who should get who and what. There's no word which is lesser than any other word. If you feel that your ward is smaller or bigger, then the best thing you can do is to talk to that person who has a smaller ward and you go and seek votes there and you win. All wards are equal, and that's why we are paid equal salaries and equal allowances. There's no ward that is lesser than any other. 2, Madam Speaker, it has failed to work in the National Assembly, and I don't think whether it will even work in Machakos County. All what we should be discussing is the importance of these. And Madam Speaker, there are people who have developed very bad habits, who have no decorum. They work is just to mama and,
Catherine,
you know,
Matthias.
that is what they are best in.
Let's have 1 minute.
They need to style up and mature up, Madam Speaker. This is an also procedure and order. Madam Speaker, the owner and the mover of this motion had a good intention. But we need to get into deeper understanding about even what is surrounding. And the chair health and chair education might even rise and second my information. Madam Speaker, just protect me. Madam Speaker, currently, recently, a week ago, I engaged the Chief Officer Education. And as we are talking right now, there's a management letter that is already on our desk. One, as to why we decided to give 3,000 shillings almost across the entire county. Because what the management letter is demanding to know, are all these needs the same? Do you want to mean that child in Alliance High School with a bursary, with a fee balance of 3,000 or 5,000, should be given the same amount with a child at, for example, Chemudeke Secondary School, if I will give, which is whose school fees, annual school fees amount is 15,000, and the child has more than 25,000 shillings balance. So those questions have been raised, and they are being addressed. And in fact, going forward, I would seek that even the Committee of Education engages the department to understand, because right now there are serious issues. She even meant me to understand that going forward, no checks will be issued. They will not issue any checks. They have said, as per the management letter is demanding that we collect bank details of the institutions, then they wire the monies directly to the institutions, because as we are speaking right now, the chief officer said they have over 600,000 shillings worth of checks over even £1 million worth of checks that have not been, have been returned to the department for them to have proper address to the relevant institutions. So there are those issues that have come up. So I would wish that the department of the Committee on Education engages the department so that we can avoid those issues that have been raised in future, so that when the time to collect information, to collect the beneficiaries comes, then we move with speed so that the beneficiaries can get these bursaries. Madam Speaker, we need to analyze, to understand that bursaries are meant to benefit needy students. In as much as the mover of the motions want us to do it 3 times, we need to be guided by what our minority leader said. Is our budget enough? That is the question we need to ask ourselves. And I would propose that we say, if we can be given bursaries at least twice in a year. For example, right now, the budget allocation currently is 4 million. 3 million shillings, Madam Speaker.
Yes.
A child who has a fee, total fee amount of 15,000 in a year. Whether you give 1,000 first term, 2,000, 1,000 second term, 1,000 third term, you will still not have solved the problem. But at least if you give once or twice and give that child at least 3,000, it will ease the burden of the balance that that child has in school. It will also cut the cost to the department. Remember these checks, the processing of these checks as a cost. Who is to bear the cost? The same amount that of money that we have allocated to that department. So I think, despite the movers' intention to have our kids benefit, then we have to relook into the nitty-gritties of the same, whereby we must say that let us have our amount upped, so that at least when we hit like about 5 million shillings, we can be given like about 3 million shillings first term and 2 million shillings first term, such that at least every child can benefit from a reasonable amount. Lastly, but not the least, Madam Speaker, there is a letter already saying that the minimum amount of money that should be given to a beneficiary is 5,000. So the department also needs to see into it, such that at least if the department said that they gave 3,000 shillings, then they come at a closer understanding with the department, such that at the time when we will start issuing bursaries, which I believe will be very soon before January, then we don't have any issues. Such that once we go to the identification of the beneficiaries, once we come to the sorting of the same, it takes the shortest time possible. Other than we do the vetting, and once we take them and seek approval of the control of budget, we are told we cannot give 3,000, we will give 5,000 shillings. Or we cannot give 1,000 shillings, we will give 2,000 shillings. So now the department needs to get closer with the Committee on Education, so that they can discuss this matter and they dispense them. Otherwise, I support the motion, but let us look into it. If we say we give 3 million shillings in 3 phases, that comes to 1,000 shillings, a million shillings every time. The operational cost, the time cost, and everything, is it going to be tenable? We better do it once or twice and at least give a student a reasonable amount. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Honorable, although Honorable Katiti, your name has not been mentioned here, so I'll allow you to proceed.
Mine, I was just seeking, it was a point of information, minority leader, when I was speaking the morning. So, Madam Speaker, I thank the member of the motion.
Liking the name was not put here on my list. Yeah, so, but anyway,
Yeah,
it was a point of information.
Yes,
So
that
it's
was
overtaken.
on a point of information. So now,
It's overtaken, isn't it?
it's not overtaken. So my contribution is,
No, I'm saying, sorry, Madam Speaker, the point of information he was to give, he misadvised this house. In the morning.
that was just a slip of the tongue. Yeah, it was not a misadvice.
Okay, proceed and.
Yeah, I want to thank the member of the motion, and the advice that I just want to make is that if we can do it twice a year, that can be well and can be good for us. The other thing, there are so many other parameters that are used, should be used to that are used when giving out these bursaries. When it comes in terms of population, and I still quote what is happening in an area like Mulolongo, that is a cosmopolitan area where we have so many tribes. They live there, but those people may not even be schooling in Machakos County. They not be a beneficial of Machakos County. So the spirit of the parameter of equity that
Point
was
of
given
information,
out by
Mr.
those
Speaker.
people, it is nice. So
Madam Speaker, point of
I want
information.
that kind of equity.
Okay. Point of information taken. Honorable Katiti, have a say.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I want to inform the honorable member that every student has a right to school anywhere in Kenya. So if a student is in Mololongo and school somewhere outside Machakos, it does not mean that it's not his or her right to get the bursary. So it should be out of order to allege that my students doesn't go to school in Machakos County. So I request him to withdraw that statement. Yeah, thank you.
The other thing is about the economic value of a place.
Withdraw the statement.
I will not.
No, you will.
Because
I'm directing that you do that.
if it's you, Madam Speaker, I withdraw.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Proceed, Honorable Katiti.
So the economic value of a place then it also should be taken as a parameter, because the same people, and I don't want now to quote that place, but those people in that place are able to pay rent, are able to pay bus fares, are able to pay even for school for the schools. So we cannot compare them with the people that are there down in our wards, because they are poor, and the issue of bursary was based on the that every child should go to school, and those people in our areas, they are poor and they don't have enough money to take their children to school, and those children have a right to go to school. So the parameter of equity, that is fair distribution of bursaries equally across all the wards, 40 wards, is paramount. So I thank you, Madam Speaker, and I support the motion.
Thank you, Honorable Katiti. Honorable Zora, proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. My name is Grace Bahati, MCH Eleni, and the Chairperson of Education. I do appreciate that Mheshimiwa and the Majority Whip brought the motion. And I'll kindly like to advise the House that if we're going to disburse the bursaries 3 times a year, it's also important to understand that every time we disburse, there is also the 3% of operational costs, the administration costs. So it's also important as honorable members, we understand, are we willing to lose more money during the administration cost? Because of course that still goes to be deducted for already the amount that we are pushing to add bursaries to our students. So that's one question that you should be asking yourselves. Second, as an education committee, it's important, and I remain guided, Madam Speaker, when we are passing information that people spoke to the CEO or Waziri, we'd also like to have official statements either brought to the House or through the Department of Education, so that we don't have the hearsay, she said, he said, and avoid misunderstanding between the Education Committee and the Education Department. And I remain guided through that. The other thing, and of course, honorable members, personally, of course, with my Education Committee, of course, politically, it makes sense to give the bursaries on 3 times, but also it's important we see the impact of it. And for me, I personally would propose we give it twice per year, but also it's important because if we give 3 times, the 3 times that means the amount deducted, if you check about it, that it's able, if you are giving the 3,000 per child, those are a couple of tens of kids who will get that bursary. So thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you so much, Honorable Member. Honorable Paul, proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I contributed in the morning, but...
Oh, you did?
I did, but that you said that was the morning session.
No,
this is another session.
It is a continuation of the morning session.
I can see no one else wants to speak. So, Madam Speaker, please.
It's
Just
not-
just a minute.
It's not in order. No member shall speak more than once to a question except in the committee.
But the speaker's
Point of order, Madam
discretion.
Speaker.
But the speaker's discretion.
Madam Speaker.
I don't wish to give the discretion.
Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker.
Honorable Monga,
Yes.
proceed.
Yes, Madam Speaker, actually, I happily want to remind you that you have just ruled that Katiti and contributed in the morning session, and that was in morning session.
I see.
However, Madam Speaker, I think the standing order
What
is
is
very
your
clear,
point, Honorable
and
Mwanga?
yes,
Mwanga,
maybe you are not privy to the standing order by the time you are making the ruling.
I'm
The standing
privy
order
all
is
the
very
time.
clear. No one should contribute it twice on a single motion. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Stick to the guns. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Ndaka, proceed.
Madam Speaker, I'm here to support the motion, but saying that we issue the bursary 2 times, to me is not very okay. Because even the 3 million to issue 1 time is not enough to our students and pupils who are at a school. My proposal is this. What Mheshimiwa Lucky was trying to do is very okay politically, and as a member of a county assembly, I can support it. But if the allocation of the amount is increased from 3 million, maybe to 4 or 5 million, that's why we can agree to subdivide it in 2 times, 3 times, or 2 times. But once the amount, the budget is already on, and we know we are dealing with 3 million, and agree that we subdivide into 2, meaning that we're going to issue 1.5 million per section. That will not be enough, because once you took 3% of the total amount, it seems the amount will be very low and the number of students are very high. So members, what I can urge you is, first of all, we increase the allocation. Once we increase the allocation, now to my side, I think now the motion will be valid to my side. And for that case, Madam Speaker, I don't see me supporting the motion.
Okay. Okay.
I oppose the motion.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Thank you very much. Honorable Evelyn.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm Zeki Evelyn, elected to represent the people of Kangundo East. I stand to support the motion because it is important to support education, because education is the one which can only eradicate poverty in our areas. However much we want to support to disperse bursaries to secondary and high school students, we also want to consider the VTCs, which has been set aside, and we know very well vocational training centers, they are the ones which are actually devolved, and they must benefit the biggest part of the bursary. So as we plan to disperse the bursaries to high school, let us also consider, probably we may disperse twice for the high school and university, and VTC at least to be given one time per year, so that we may also consider them, because we know very well they are dying and they are shutting down if something is not going to be taken care of it. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Perhaps I want to make some correction, some impression that has been created, that I am applying double standards insofar as allowing members to contribute. What I said is that Honorable Katiti's name was not put in my list as having contributed in the morning. But Honorable Paul Wambua's name is here. So I am able to see who is. So I said, for the benefit of, he has benefited. Honorable Katiti benefited because his name is not in my list. So I wanted to make that clear. I now put the question. The mover of the motion, proceed and make your remarks, response.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. In the morning, I didn't introduce myself. I'm Lucky Raphael, Honorable Member for Matungulu West Ward, and the mover of this motion. Madam Speaker, I come to appreciate the House today. It was busy. We've seen all the sides of the House, and I want to say to my members and to yourself, thank you, members, for contributing actively. And we have seen some some stages of the House move on correctly. Firstly, I've seen Madam Speaker, you acting at your position, and a member withdraws a statement, which has never happened in this House. It is the first time. So congratulations, Honorable Katiti. Madam Speaker, I want to reply that to appreciate my members about this motion. And this motion has brought up a lot of ideas. To me, it has more than what is presented in paper. So, Madam Speaker, I've seen a member come up discuss about his ward having many applicants. We have seen members come up about finances, on how to sponsor, or rather how the motion can be expensive for the county. We have seen members trying to give different directions. Madam Speaker, I appreciate my members, and I want to include my members, my colleagues, in my motion, that I request you, Madam Speaker, that we give the motion some more time and we discuss it better. Of course, I would want it to go through today, but what has come up is that it is an important motion to rush. And if you give it the right address, we may get the best for our people. So, Madam Speaker, I would request we defer the motion and you give us direction on how to present the motion so that it can come out maturely and very covering to our people. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Member, Honorable Lucky. And I'm happy that you have been able to really find it necessary to include or to bring on board what points that have been brought up here. And I'm sure, Honorable Mwanga, although today I've not been able to see your eyes, I always judge you from seeing your eyes. So perhaps what we can do, instead of concluding this motion, we could have it deferred, debate it further another day, and come up with very conclusive prayers and orders. Thank you, members.
Madam Speaker, with your permission, there is one thing which has come up.
Yes.
I'm not on the motion. Actually, it is the timing of the House to know the business before them. I think the best thing to do, so that if a member wants to move an amendment, I think each Wednesday in the afternoon, on each Wednesday, we can be having statement by the leader majority telling us the business of the coming week. Madam Speaker, why I'm saying this?
Yes.
Remember, looking at the under paper, the notice of motion came before the statement hour. Yeah? When the majority leader, who is the head of the government business in the House was issuing the statement. Already some businesses which he issued in his statement had already taken place. So I think with the guidance of the clerk, something is wrong somewhere. That is why we cannot amend motions before the stipulated time or according to the standing orders. I think, Madam Speaker, that is something we should be looked at.
I think
Thank
it's
you.
important we really look into it, clerk, the best way to tackle this so that some of these issues that are coming up in the midst of our debates don't happen again. If there is, the important thing is to have information early enough so that you can be able to make right informed decisions. Honorable.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for catching my hand. Now, on the same issue, Madam Speaker.
Yes.
And the majority leader will affirm this and the members of the House Business Committee. The reason as to why, in fact, when we ballot business, the business that we have balloted this week, Madam Speaker, is supposed to be worked on next week, based on the business that we have. But I want now to put a challenge, even to the honorable member who is saying that the messages were sent late. This business that we balloted was just received as early as yesterday. So if we have no business, Madam Speaker, to ballot for, sometimes we are forced to wait even up to late hours, like today in the morning, to ballot for business. So what I would request of members is that let us generate as much business as possible, such that we are at least 3 weeks or 4 weeks ahead, such that when we ballot business for next week, and the communication, a statement is made by the majority leader, it can be sent to members at least 48 hours before we come and transact that business, so members can understand about that business, they make any proposal and counter propose, and they do the same. Otherwise, without business, our business committee will just have to be doing the work we did today because we have no business to ballot. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you. That's a very important point because we are almost going completely obsolete with no business in the House. Yes, so members, I encourage you to bring business and bring business in advance early enough so that this communication can be made to the members. And if there are any amendments that are required, then they will actually be possible. On the same breath, I want to ask the Secretariat, the clerk, to also make this happen the best way possible. Let's proceed with the work. We have not finished, members. Next order.
Order number 9. Motion, adjournment of the House.
May I invite Honorable Nicholas Nzioka, the majority leader, to come forward and move that motion. Proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Speaker, aware that Section 126, subsection 3 of the Public Finance Management Act 2012 provides that the County Executive Committee member responsible for planning shall not later than 1st September each year submit a county development plan to the County Assembly for its approval and send a copy to the Commission on Revenue Allocation and the National Treasury. Aware that the Machakos County Annual Development Plan for financial year 2024-2025 was submitted to the Assembly pursuant to Section 126, subsection 3 of the PFMA and is under consideration by the Trade, Economic Planning and Industrialization Committee and sectoral committees, and that consultation are ongoing between the County Executive Committee members and the committees. Acknowledging that Standing Order number 25, Sub-Order 4, provides that despite the adjournment date as scheduled in the approved Assembly calendar, the Assembly may, by resolution, alter its calendar or the adjournment date. Honorable Speaker, I wish to move the motion that, pursuant to Standing Order number 25, Sub-Order 4, the Assembly resolves to adjourn the House today, 7th November 2023, to resume on the 15th November 2023, to allow honorable members interrogate the annual development plan for financial year 2024-2025. I'll call upon the Deputy Majority Leader to second.
Thank you, Majority Leader, and thank you for Deputy Majority Leader. I now propose the question that pursuant to Standing Order number 25-4, the Assembly resolves to adjourn the House today, 7th November 2023, to resume on 15th November 2023 to allow honorable members interrogate the annual development plan for financial year 2024-2025. I now invite members to debate this motion. The floor is yours, members. Let's debate a bit. Honorable Majority.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I think the adjournment is necessitated by the public participation to align what is in the ADP to the activities of the government. So I think, honorable members, the best we can do is to make sure, especially we attend the public participation forums so that we don't miss anything. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, honorable members, honorable member. I now put the question that pursuant to Standing Order number 25, Suborder 4, the Assembly resolves to adjourn the House today, 7th November 2023, to resume on 15th November 2023, to allow honorable members interrogate the annual development plan for financial year 2024-2025. As many are of the opinion say ayes. As many are of the contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. The House adjourns to Wednesday, 15th November 2023 at 10 a.m. in the morning. Thank you, honorable members.
We are missing it. Thank you. No, no,